Hey there, my name is Brian Conway from achievesuccess.co.uk and welcome to this week's little video show, if that's what you want to call it. Now, before I get into this week's content, firstly, if you've never joined me before, these are short bite-sized videos that I produce each week, or you may be listening to the audio on podcast somewhere, but they are short little snippets of information to share with you tips and tricks and strategies that will help you make more sales and ultimately make more money and just turn you into a better salesperson. Now, before I get into this week's content, as I said, I want to just share with you the fact that I'm rebranding these videos. Now, most of you will know this series as 4-Minute Friday, but I've been just sort of reflecting on things and I thought, well, first of all, 4-Minute Friday doesn't actually articulate anything about who we are as a community, what we do, what I'm teaching on, all that sort of stuff. So I thought, well, it's kind of a bit of a useless name in some respects. And then when I looked at it further, I thought, actually, these videos, they're always longer than 4 minutes. I never manage to to cram it all into just 4 minutes because I'm here and I do these to serve and to bring value, and I want to give you something very usable, and therefore quite often the videos are a bit longer than 4 minutes. So I thought, you know what, I mean, absolutely useless calling them 4-Minute Fridays. The other thing that's a challenge for me here is that typically, as you know, I will produce and publish these messages on a Friday, and it's usually something during the week that I will talk about. Something that's happened during the week I'll share with you on a Friday. And then I got thinking about that. I thought, first of all, I usually get to Friday and have a number of things that I have to choose from, and therefore I'm only sharing one thing because I'm only doing it one day of the week. Secondly, if something comes up on a Monday, you don't get it until the Friday. And some people have said, but time they've gone over the weekend and got back to work on Monday, it's kind of gone out of mind. And I thought, if I can give you something on a Monday rather than a Friday, you could apply it straight away and have a whole week of applying it, maybe realizing the benefit of applying that little tactic. So I thought just restricting myself to a Friday video was a bit of a waste of time and effort as well. So I'm rebranding these little videos and audios, as I said, depending where you're listening to this, to and giving it a whole new name and a whole new brand. And that name is going to be Minute. Not really, that's a stupid name. Why would anybody even suggest such a thing? No, I decided, what is it about these videos? Why do I do them? Why are you even listening to them? I thought this really comes down to one thing. The reason I do this is because, well, my ultimate mission, you might say, is to just revitalize professional sales competencies. A lot of the salespeople I train on a regular basis, many of them have never had any sales training whatsoever, have been maybe years in the job and just had to learn as they go along. And their competency could be so much greater, and therefore their performance and ultimately earning power could be so much more. So that's my ultimate mission, is to really help people learn how to sell better. So I'm really serious about selling ultimately. And I thought, well, who's the audience? Well, if you're watching this, you must be serious about selling as well. So why don't we call this program Serious About Selling? I've even got a program called Serious Selling, and I don't want to confuse it with that. But this vodcast or podcast, depending, as I say, where you're watching or listening to this, is now going to be called Serious About Selling, because that's where we are. So if wherever you're watching this now, if you're serious about selling, type that into the comments field. Type in there, I'm serious about selling, Brian. Join my community, interact with me a little bit. So with that said, welcome to Serious About Selling with me, Brian Conway from achievesuccess.co.uk. Now, we've probably already gone over the 4 minutes. That's a good job we got rid of the old name, and you may not be watching this on a Friday. So see how relevant this now becomes? So what I want to talk about this week with you, however, is a little bit around finance and using finance to help you sell. And the reason I wanted to cover this week, as I said, during the week, this has come up a number of times, is people mixing up some of the most fundamental financial kind of acronyms. And so the real thing I want to talk about, or the main thing I want to talk about today, is something called ROI. All right? Not the Republic of Ireland, no, return on investment. And a lot of people are quite confused. Sometimes when I'll say to people, so what is ROI? People will say, well, it's the time it takes to get your investment returned. It's, when you get your money back. And that's wrong. Okay, that is something called payback. Payback is a series or is the metric of how long it takes to recoup your money. So let's say your customer spent with you £100,000 buying a piece of software or a tool or a product or a machine or whatever it might, or service, anything that then starts to improve their performance. And because of that investment, they start making an additional, let's say 10K per month. Okay, so over 10 months, it would take them to recoup that initial investment. That is payback. That is the period, 10 months. That's often referred to as the break-even point, when they've broken even. Now everything over and above that becomes profit. But payback is a period in time. It's a measurement of time. So an investment of 100K with a 10K return each month, incremental return each month, would give you a 10-month payback. Okay, that's not ROI. As I said, that is payback. ROI is something very different. ROI is the measurement of the incremental revenues that are created over and above that initial investment. So let me give you an example so you understand this. So again, let's use the same figure. Let's say customers invested 100K. Okay, we said they are creating an additional £10,000 per month in incremental revenues or improved productivity or cost savings somewhere. But hitting the bottom line is an increase of 10K. Now, if they were to do that for 12 months, for a year, obviously at the end of that period, they're going to have generated £120,000 worth of incremental revenue. Okay, you with me so far? I hope so. All right, so 120K. So what we're going to do now is, as part of ROI, is to compare that 120K as a percentage of this initial investment of 100K. And the way this is done is by basically saying, what is the return? So it's 120K. Minus the initial investment, which was 100K, which basically gives us £20,000, 20K. All right. Now that 20K is then divided by the initial investment. So 20K divided by 100K, which equals 0.2. So we need to represent that as a percentage. So we times that by 100, and that obviously then gives us 20%. So the customer's return in 12 months is 20%. So it's 20% over 1 year or 20% over 12 months. That's the incremental revenue that they have created over their initial investments, like their profit on top of that investment. And you've got to know that time period. You can't just say, oh, the ROI is 20%. Or if a customer's, if you're asking a customer what's their ROI figure, they can't just give you 20% or 50% or whatever. It's got to be over a time period. And again, to understand that, if you look at this as simple maths, if we said the customer measured their ROI figure over 2 years, obviously the returns are 24 months now, 10K a month is £240,000. All right, we minus off our initial investment, that leaves us with 140. Okay, 140 divided by 140K divided by our initial investment, which is 100K, that equals 1.4, excuse me, and 1.4 obviously times 100, therefore equals 140%. So 20% over 1 year, 140% over 2 years. So if a customer is using a 2-year window to measure their ROI, the return is significantly greater, because remember, we broke even in month 10, and therefore now we've got 14 months of incremental profit over and above that initial investment. So therefore the ROI is significantly greater. So you've got to know what that figure is. If it's over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, well, not many businesses would use that sort of longevity now as in measuring an investment with the speed of economies and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you've got to know what that time period is. So it's not payback. That is the point in time where you break even and get all your money back. It's that incremental revenue as a percentage of your initial investment. So there you go. That's Finance 101. I trust you found that useful. Again, please leave comments wherever you are watching this, and like, and share and subscribe and so on and so forth. Anyway, if you're watching this on social media somewhere, you know what to do and kind of how to do it. But as I said, this is now serious about selling my weekly, maybe daily. I can do it whenever I want now. I'm not restricted by Fridays. A little training session, and I look forward to bringing you more of these and really helping you, if you are serious about selling, be significantly more successful and put some more of that coin in your pocket. So I'm Brian Conway from Achieve Success. This has been, thank you, Serious About Selling, and I look forward to seeing you whenever I choose to broadcast again. So in the meantime, however long that takes, you apply what you learn, and hopefully you will see incremental sales results. There you go. So until I see you again, you take care. Bye-bye.